Hey guys, Jack here. Sorry. Now, to finish up our look on Kamen Rider Double, this actually is going a lot faster than I thought it would. Even if it is kind of somewhat apart. Where was I going with it? Alright, we're going to look at the two riders who mainly use these lost drivers. Which just both happen to be movie exclusive riders. Go figure. Anyway, I gotta clarify something. Shotaro does use a lost driver. 2 times. Well, he actually uses it 4 times, but one of those I'm not gonna mention. I probably should, though. Okay, the first time he uses a lost driver is in Kamen Rider Double's movie A to Z Double Forever. In their movie A to Z Double Forever. The second time he uses it is in the final episode of the series. The third time he uses it is in the crossover movies between the Kamen Rider series that would come after it, Kamen Rider O's, and in the Kamen Rider series that came after O's, Kamen Rider 4's. Or 4Z, depending on how you pronounce it. Anyway, and the last one would be used in the last time we would use it, as far as I know, is in Kamen Rider Tyson. And that movie sucks. So, yeah, you were kind of wondering why I didn't want to mention it. Yikes. Anyway, let's get into the first user, Sokichi Narumi. Now, he was originally Shotaro's mentor, and we learned that he was friends with Shroud. I went over a few times in my past videos, looking over Double and Axel. That makes much more sense, actually. That sounds better, actually. We're not even past the 5-minute mark. Are you kidding me? Ugh, this is why my videos get no views. But in any case, before we actually get into, and I didn't bring it up. God, I'm stupid. Excuse me real quick. There we go. Anyway, before we get into Sokichi and his forms, let's look at the Lost Driver itself. It's basically the double driver without the right half of it. Hence, which I think why it's called Lost Driver, because it's lost a part of itself. Yes, I know, hilarious. Riveting. Anyway, Sokichi actually died before the beginning of the series, which was explained in the crossover movie between Double's preceding series, Kamen Rider Decade, in their crossover movie, Movie War 2010, which ironically takes place in 2009. Yeah. Anyway, we learned that Sokichi's been active as a Kamen Rider since 1999. For those of you who don't know, in the year 2000, when Kamen Rider came back for the Heisei trilogy, in the 2000, Kamen Rider Kuga premiered. Now, this was during the original Heisei run, where originally Toei wanted to keep the continuity separated. Which honestly wasn't a bad idea. It could keep each Rider series as its own solo story, and doesn't conflict with the series' own canon. Until they wanted to bring all the worlds together for crossover movies. And so they did. And that's how we got the fucking Tyson movies. Sorry, guys. No, sorry you have to see that. It's never been that bad before. Sorry. Yeah, you might just want to skip the part when I do that. Oopsies. Where's it go? Oh, right. Anyway, since the crossover of all Kamen Rider series now takes place on the same Earth, that includes Super Sentai. Oh dear, that's private stuff. That means Sokichi was the longest acting Kamen Rider until Kuga appeared in 2000. Neat! Where's it going with this? Alright, but now that we got that out of the way, let's look at Sokichi's forms. Anyway, Sokichi, like most of the writers in this show, uses the Gaia memory. That being the Gaia memory of labeled Skull. Yet this is actually an interesting case. So we're going to have to go way back to a manga series that actually predate Kamen Rider itself. It was a manga series created by Sotaro Ishinomori, known as the Skull Man, where the titular, which is the first anti-hero to appear in comic or manga form, debuting before Marvel's Punisher would. Anyway, his story is that alongside his mutant mentor Garo, he tracks down the Yakuza that killed his family. However, this causes him to go through mass murders, which causes a warrant for his arrest. In the end of the series, it turns out the person that hired the Yakuza, that's a criminal gang, to kill his family was his estranged grandfather. Because Skullman himself was a human experimentation, and so his grandfather killed him and himself in a blaze of fire, saving the world from their family's machinations of evil. Yeah, it is dark. And Skullman's actions in the manga, it's never justified. He's only the hero because, well, he's the main character. That's actually kind of sad in the long run. But later, Ishinomori would hire another manga artist whose name escapes me, to write a new Skullman manga. This time being inspired by Kamen Rider, putting Skullman in a more heroic light. While his family was still killed, he did not go on a mass killing spree. He only fought those responsible for his family and to protect the others. But it was still dark, because it forced Skullman to face the darkest and most evil of humanity's souls within the world. Sadly, I have not been able to find a copy of it in English translation. Gotta want to read the new one. And there was also the Studio Bones anime, which I don't not get into because I really talk about anime on my show. Yeah. But anyway, Kamen Rider Skull is actually an homage to the Skull Man. I just wanted to clarify that. But now we got out of the way, let's get into forms. The first form is his crystal skull form. No relation to Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I think. Anyway, this is Skull's original incomplete form. And is pretty weaker. But he would later get his true form as the true Kamen Rider Skull. This is just him with his white classic with his nice snazzy fedora. I have no idea why I said it like that. Weird. Which actually covers the huge crack on his skull helmet. Anyway, this form like Kamen Rider Double, his catchphrase is, "Now, count up your crimes," or, "Now, count up your sins." Or, something like that. Anyway, his main weapon is the Skull Magnum. This is it in its regular form, and this is it in its maximum drive form. And yes, I am aware it's basically just a black and silver repaint of the Trigger Magnum with the double painted in a dark red. Although now that I'm looking at it again, it might be crimson. Anyway, that's not the only thing. Skull also had his own motorcycle called the Skull Boiler. And he also had his own giant machine called the Skull Gary. Now, I believe these were both prototypes to the Hard Boiler and the Revolve Gary. Because the Skull Boiler is still the same thing, obviously. But the Skull Gary does not have the rotating gallery that allows the Hard Boiler to equip different back halves to its different back halves for different situations. Anyway, his maximum drive is basically a generic rider kick, which is similar to Kamen Rider Ichigo's, or Kamen Rider No. 1's, original rider kick, but with a purple swirling energy around his right foot. And in the Gamba Rising games, basically Kamen Rider, I'm not getting into those, it is known as the Silhouette Kick. Now, let's move on to our last rider I'm going to look over, and well, he's kind of an interesting one. That being Katsumi Dio. Now, Katsumi Dio actually died young, and his mother, with the help of Foundation X, yeah, I'm gonna need to go off topic here again. Foundation X was originally created by Kamen Rider Double's head writer, and he intended it to be basically a new version of Shocker, which was extremely powerful because they would have their hands somewhat in every Rider series. As a result, so even when you think the regular Foundation X is defeated, it turns out it's just a small cell of them. Yeah. And this was pretty cool. Until Kamen Rider Tyson happened. Why? Oh, it's nothing. Basically, it's just fact that it gave birth to reviving Shocker over and over and over again. So Foundation X was dropped. Assholes! You're all a bunch of... Okay, whoever wrote that idea is an asshole. But yeah, back to Foundation X. They originally founded a project called the Necro Over Project, which basically allowed those who became Necrovers to become zombies. I'm not kidding. Anywho, Necrovers basically were invincible and could not die. Okay, they could die, but it was just really hard to kill them. But the project was abandoned when Gaia Memories were first made. Not a bad idea, actually. So what does this have to do with this guy? Well, it turns out that he stole Type 2 Gaia Memories. Now, Type 2 Gaia Memories, or simply known as T2 Gaia Memories, are basically more purified Gaia Memories, or the next stage of Gaia Memories. Except for two key differences. One, when one transforms into a Dopant because of them, they're purified of their corrupting effect. And two, even when being used alone, they retain their full power. Now, what does this have to do with Katsumi Dio? Well, he's Kamen Rider Double that uses the Eternal Memory. His first form is Eternal Red Flare, but he doesn't last long in this form, so we'll just move on to the next one. This is Eternal Blue Flare, which has more armoring and a sweet cape. I love that cape. Yes, he's an evil writer, if you couldn't guess. And this isn't without said cape. He still looks kind of silly. Anyway, in this form, he's equipped with the Eternal Edge. He's equipped with the Eternal Edge, which is basically a combat knife with a guy memory slot, with a maximum drive slot. Yay. Anyway, his finisher for this one is the Eternal Requiem. By inserting the Eternal Memory into the Eternal Edge, he has the ability to deactivate all Gaia memories that came before the T2 Gaia memories. And this is him in Strengthening Armament mode. Which, yeah, but look at it, by using the zone memory, he can actually use all the powers of all 26 T2 Gaia memories together. However, it was still no match for Kamen Rider Double's Golden Extreme. Yeah. And that's pretty much it on my look at Kamen Rider Double. It's a very good series. If you guys can find subs of it, I give it a watch. It's very interesting, for the most part. But I think I'll take a break from Kamen Rider for a while. So join me next time when we look at the Power Rangers. When we come back here to the States to look at Power Rangers, specifically the series that came after Mighty Morphin. Join me next time when we look at Power Rangers Zeo. But what do you guys think? Want me to talk about a certain Kamen Rider you've heard about but don't know it? You've heard of but don't know anything about? Dang it! Let me know in the comments down below. Hit that like button and please subscribe to my channel. I don't update often, but when I do, hit that bell icon, you'll get all latest updates. Well, that's all for now. This is Jack Keller saying, now, count up your crimes. Now, count up your sins. I have too many sins to count. It's a rhetorical thing from Eternal. And see ya!